Hi guys, how are you doing? Another video, the usual type stuff, you know, the usual games bloke, wonderfully rambly insight into random games. And what we have for you today is Desert Falcon on the Atari 7800, a game that is one of the most appealing and interesting and damn frustrating games on the system. So surprising. A game that took me completely by surprise. To look at it, what am I looking at? You know, to me, it's meh. Yeah, it is so much. It is so interesting and so appealing. It is unbelievable. Essentially, it's like Zaxxon. It's basically just a sort of isometric shooting game. However, once you delve into the surface, what you've got is basically a really interesting and varied shoot 'em up with a nice collection kind of feature going on. So basically, the general idea of the game is just to get to the end of the level and defeat the Sphinx. But there are pickups, in this case hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics, if you get 3 different types of hieroglyphics, you can get different effects. So for example here, I've just collected 3 hieroglyphics, and it gave me I don't know what it gave me there, but you get different kind of effects like invincibility, fast shots, speed through the level, that kind of thing. And the trick is just to remember the combinations. There are also bonuses like diamonds and things to pick up, and there are some interesting combinations that you can do, and it just gives the game a really interesting kind of angle, because do you charge through the levels like that at speed and just, you know, try and go for progress, or do you maybe get your score up there with you know, picking up the items and things like that? Now, as you go through the game and as you start blowing up the baddies, the value, which is illustrated there at the bottom, which is currently at 56, starts to go up. So as you start to kill the baddies, that value goes up. Now that value is the points value of the items at the end of the level in the bonus stage. Now, one of the things that I tried to do, and I never do properly, is to try and get that value up quite high, because when I get to the bonus stage, that gives me a ridiculously high score value. Ironically, I'm actually doing quite well in terms of value. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to charge through it and see if I can get to the end and see how I get on. But basically, the trick to it is just to get to the end of the stage, and then you get, you know, your points values and things like that. So it's cool. You've got that sort of risk-reward type of thing going on, and obviously I suck. But the risk-reward thing is just so interesting, because you can go for the hieroglyphics and get some quite interesting effects, you know, that kind of stuff. Or you can charge through it, you know, hoping to get progress, potentially getting onto later levels. Or you can go for the bonuses and go for like kind of a methodical approach. Or you can mix it up. Graphically, it's quite appealing. Sound-wise, as you can imagine, because it's using that pokey chip, it's using 2600 sound, so it's not that much different. In fact, there is a conversion of this game for the 2600, which is sound-wise is exactly the same. But that doesn't necessarily mean bad things. Gameplay-wise, this is spot on. I like Zaxxon anyway, so as you can imagine, this is pretty much, it's kind of a thinking man's Zaxxon. It's pretty cool. Being able to sort of walk through the levels or power through the levels, just, you know, gives it a bit of strategy, and that's brilliant for me. Love all that sort of stuff. And being able to get the hieroglyphics, which give you different, like, so for example, look there, I've just collected 3 hieroglyphics and it's just made me invincible. So now I can take hits, no problem. So what I'll do is I think I'll power through now. I'm chuffed that I know that this. I'm chuffed that I know that this game exists. I'm always on the lookout for games that are kind of like diamonds in the rough kind of thing, or rough diamonds. And this is one of those games where straight away you'll overlook it. A, because look at the state of it; it doesn't look that impressive. B, it's on 7800, which is pretty much a limiting system anyway. And you know, it's one of those games where you just think to yourself, you know, what am I playing here? The thing is though, if you give it a chance, it's really rewarding. But yeah, as you can see guys, I am not really giving it a lot of intelligence. Let's see if we can waste this guy. No. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting game. Really surprising if you think of how Atari managed, you know, I mean, we're coming from the era of the ST. So Atari's focus was predominantly on the ST. So pretty much everything else was put on the back burner, so to speak. And the 7800 was given a very weak launch in comparison to the competition. So to know that this game existed in that kind of environment and that it came out in the first place is quite surprising. It's a game that I do come back to when I want to surprise people, and it's something that I've wanted to do for a while on the channel, but it's a game that reminds me of, you know, of the past and things like that. So it's again similar to my Asteroids 7800 video, if you've seen that. It's very much a bittersweet game. It's something that when I come back to it, it does give me a lot of reminders of the past, and that's a mixed bag. But as a game, it's pretty good. What I'd say to you guys is, I don't know if it's worth actual cash monies. I'm not sure. I mean, it depends on your viewpoint. I'm sure certain people who watch this video, not naming names, will probably say that that's sacrilege what I've just said. But it's a game that if you play it, you won't be disappointed. You won't feel like as though it was stupid playing it. Do you know what I mean? You will come out of the experience feeling good, and it's one of those games that just rewards play and rewards experimentation, and it surprised the hell out of me. I was really pleased, and I'm double chuffed that I'm showing it to you guys. But what I will say to you guys is, if you have got a 7800, do your best to try and find it. It's worth picking up. If you are considering maybe getting it for the 2600, it's not perfect. It's very playable, but it's not what it could have been. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was pushing the 2600 to the limits. Who knows? But it doesn't feel quite there. It's not quite the same. It's fun. It's exciting. It's brilliant. To be able to play it on the 2600, but it's just not quite the same. So if you do see it on the 2600, yeah, fair enough. Maybe have a look at it. I don't know. But the best version, obviously, the definitive version, is of course the 7800. And to be able to, say to you that this is pretty much an essential game for the system. If you're a collector of 7800s, if you're a collector of the 7800 or the games library or whatever, this is pretty much the pinnacle of what the system can offer you. as far as I'm concerned, it is truly what the system is all about. But what I'd say to you guys is consider it carefully. If you're one of these people where you just like to, you know, dabble with games and not really get heavily involved in them, I wouldn't recommend you buy this. It's not as good as... If you saw it for a few pounds, maybe, yeah. But it's not like... Well, put it this way, guys, I'm sure you'll probably find a million other games. This is the thing, though, about me, is I like underdog games. I like games where it's obvious that nobody likes them, but I love the fact that they've missed the point, if that makes any sense. I like games where everyone misses the point. I mean, like Knights was the classic example of that. Everybody who played the game casually missed the point spectacularly, and it was down to the hardcore gamers to really illustrate why Knights should exist and why Knights had an almost infinite amount of lastability. But, you know, it's the same with this. It's one of those games where you look at it and you think, well, it's nothing, you know, what is it? But then you play it and it's like, oh. And like half an hour, 2 hours go by and you've, you know, look at this, look, I've got the bonus thing. So if you look now, all the items are worth 93 and it goes up and up and up. And that's the level completed. So now we're on the second level. Now, this is where it gets a bit surprising. Is it marshland? Is it swamp? Is it forest? The colour palette is a bit random considering it's supposed to be in the desert. Nevertheless, more of the same. Anyway, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to call it a video because I've been rambling on way too much. I just really wanted to showcase this game to you because I just feel that it's one of those forgotten classics, and I do consider it a classic because it is so surprising. It deserves a look. If you're a fan of Zaxxon, I would suggest playing this game because it'll just give you a nice alternative to that. Alright guys, I've rambled on long enough. Have a good one. See you on the next vid. Thanks ever so much for, you know, watching this and for, you know, giving us your time and your comments. Cheers now.